Hey guys, so a couple things here. Oh, I don't have my special. Oh, let me get a special glasses. All right. So these are helping actually, but sometimes I can't see. So I don't know. I don't know if they're really helping or just blocking the screens. Um, in regards to OKLO, I think this is super interesting that they have not done a secondary yet. Like really interesting. And they need the money. Like who doesn't need the money when your revenues are zero and you're building nuclear reactors? So I find it fascinating that they're not doing it yet. You're poised to open down four. From my perspective, man, oh man, like I look at this and can't believe that that this is what you're dealing with. And you seem to have if I'm to look at this correctly, your call wall now is up in like that 150 area. I wouldn't think that you're going to break that. And you had a massive freaking order up there. Like somebody's got, I don't know, somebody thinks something's going on. I think it's got to be part of a massive spread that they're hiding personally, but I don't know. Like it's massive. You can go look that up. So this is a really big area up here. And this is definitely something that is of interest to me. Like, are we getting through that? Or are we not? I would love to see the secondary flush it out, get it back down, and give us an opportunity again. When you start getting to that point with these names where here's the 55 and you start going, we're 100% off the 55. Institutions are not really chasing it. They might nibble on it, but they have their kind of mandate on where they're going to buy. Even if they pay up higher, they're just going to wait a little bit on stuff like this. So this is definitely something that's on my radar today to watch. And I am coming in essentially net short it, but this is not how it ends. It ends with these huge explosions and everybody's like, oh my God, I got to get in. Yay, uranium. It doesn't end with, oh, we're down and we're going to recoup. And same thing I said about LEU when LEU did it. And it's just really important to get this so that, let me just make sure I'm on the right. Sometimes it jumps mics. No, we're good. Yay. When LEU put this in, like this is how it usually ends. And just for however long it ends, but it's usually some kind of shooting star, opens, rallies up, comes back down, closes at the low, and then that becomes your demarcation line. That is not what's going on with these. You're seeing massive amounts of money come into these, and it's not really stopping. So I think that's super important. The other thing that I think is really interesting that I would just tell you to focus on is that you are seeing more of these small cap names move. This is something that we bought the other day, and it just looks like a monster. But these smaller cap names, it's not just the ones that, we're finding, but, some of these like smaller, like test semiconductor names, I'd start going through them. I have these lists that I create and, well, who are we kidding? I have these lists that someone creates for me. But that should do it, right? Socks, or do we have it under semis? I don't know. It's in here somewhere. But here, semiconductors. And I would start running through these, like start going through all your lists. Maybe I'll publish this one because you'd be surprised what the heck's going on out there. Like some of these smaller names that nobody's paying attention to. Intel's got a lot of issues. So this looks like, some of these things look they're going to be absolute monsters. So, a lot of these little secondary names nobody's paying attention to. I would say this, the automotive sector, not so much. Although, I think a lot of these automotive sectors, this is just an absolute monster trade. And so analog too is not really doing anything, is it? But the semi caps, it's like everybody woke up and realized that AMD or AMAT was cheap. And AMAT's still cheap. AMAT's the cheapest name out there. So, but do you want to buy that ahead of Micron? Micron's got, what does Micron have to do in order to really get it going? And I think I think AMAT is the cheapest name out there. So I would take the time to go through those kinds of names and just kind of click along and see, but I would stay away. Like just me, I would be staying away from the automotive side. Automotive side's got a lot of issues. This is super interesting because this is a foundry and you're starting to get above those key levels. But I start looking at the smaller cap names. IONQ, this is super interesting on the news front today. IONQ did something on the quantum computing side. And if I try to say that I understand it, like we both know that I can basically turn this computer on and off. So I just be lying. But they can do something with quantum computing. I don't know. What it is, whatever. But to me, you're starting to build this flag here. It looks like you can see where the flag range is. Let's get into the ES. What else is super important for you guys to get? I'll look for those that are trying to get in that are on the wait list. Look for a news or an invite tonight. So there's going to be a batch that'll go out tonight for sure. I think you have to, these are our key levels, right? Where Itchy made his decision, Itchy spoke, Itchy stopped speaking. I mean, it's not rocket science. Tell me where he said good afternoon. Like it's right there. I think we actually have it marked off, don't we? Didn't we do that? We put the little guy right on the screen. Didn't we? There he is. There he is. Where's Waldo? There he is, right there. Yay. So, Sam. So what I'm getting at here, doesn't matter which chart we look at, his good afternoons to his saying goodbye, is a fortune. It's kind of funny at this point. Like, I wonder if he gets a complex over it. Like, oh God, I better not say good afternoon. Anyway, he's going to speak at 12:30. Him trying to explain things is probably like the worst thing in the world. So I do expect some movement around there. He's just not good at explaining things. So it is what it is. And it's certainly something that I would be paying attention to, but let's watch this, very, very carefully. I do think that, you can continue to grind here, but you have two events today. And I think those events are really going to shape the market. One is Micron, and how big does Micron beat? And if Micron doesn't beat, semis are going to get smoked. If Micron beats and raises to a level that people don't expect, which could happen, and I'll tell you why I think that might happen. And I don't know what that level's got to be for Micron to really knock it out of the park. But I'll tell you why I think this, because Samsung turned some of their plants back on. So I do think that that's out there. But to go through the NQ and give you the levels and how I say it, it's not really rocket science. You're in this trading range that's super, super tight. And the function of how long are you going to stay in that range? It's 22 basis points. Can you come down here like in a heartbeat? And you've just been chugging along up here. So yeah, 100% you can. And that's really, that's really how I say it. Do you continue to chug along? You seem to be making these lifts and then you go up for a couple hours and then you just flatline. It is what it is. I'll take it. I'm not going to complain about it, but this is really what you're dealing with right now. And you have a lot of levels out there, like a lot. And I don't think that that's going to go away. So it's definitely on my radar. Let's go take a look at the ES. It'll be very similar. I don't know why we did that. Please stop. But it'll be very, very similar. Same movement. It's like, brother from another mother. I mean, it's really that simple. It's not really that hard to say it, right? And are we going to go anywhere before he speaks? I don't know. The best thing about this is the same people that were telling you that CoreWeave was not going to go anywhere or telling you that Nvidia giving money to OpenAI is a bad idea. They can't afford it. If you can't afford it, you take equity in the company. People do it all the time in private equity, like all the time. Like people are acting like this is a big deal. If you can't afford the product and you want the product, you sell a portion of your company. That's exactly what they're doing. And it is what it is. You take loans and you borrow and you do it. People are like, oh, well, they're borrowing money to give it back. Okay. And so, I mean, it's done. It's literally done. Anyone that owns a distribution business knows that this is how it's done all the time. So it's not like this really weird thing. The weird thing is if they can't pay. Like if they can't pay, then it becomes a problem. But what I think they'll always do is I think they're always going to negotiate a portion of the company. And I think that's what Nvidia is doing. But I think that's like 3 years out. Because eventually, the CapEx will have to stop or slow down. I mean, it's just a matter. It's not going to go on for infinity, but these payments aren't even supposed to start to 27. So the idea that they're going to stop before 27 is kind of stupid. But I think that's a pretty big level too. But I don't know that you're going to get there. If we take a look at the SPY, let's go take a look at this a little bit, see what we got going on here. If there's anything of consequence. Yeah, I mean, you really have that 670 level up there, but I don't know that you're going to get there anytime soon. Maybe if Micron really ramps things up and talks about the huge demand out there, maybe, that could happen. That's a possibility. But I just don't see much out there. Where are we at that? Like the actual drop out there is so far off that I just don't even think it's worth bringing up, from where you could go. But this would really be like your target area up here. If you broke out, you're looking at like 1% there. And I'm not so sure how realistic that is. But then the question becomes, where else are you going to put your money? There's some real issues going on in Europe. So you could start seeing money flow back into the US. That is definitely a possibility. Europe's going to have a lot of problems. So I think it's about they're going to have some real issues there on some fronts. And I don't know how they're going to address it, but it's going to come up today. I think Trump speaks in front of NATO. Is it that he speaks in front of the UN today? So that there's going to be some issues there that start arising. And this is really that kind of top level that I see right now. And I don't know that you're going to break this anytime soon. Let me show you that. Like, I don't know that we're getting through. No, where is it? That's 600. Like, I don't know that we're going to just break through that to the downside. I don't really see it that way. Your put walls are so freaking far down there. It's not even funny, but this is really where you're at on the short-term levels as far as like where you could get to. So we'll have to see how that plays out as well. And let me just drop that in there. What else do I think super interesting today that's out there? I really love the naysayers on the video. Like that really made me happy today. That everyone's out there saying, oh, it can't possibly do this. Like that made my day because I don't want everybody on the same side of this, as the trade as me. I need my naysayers. I need the doubters. Because when everybody's on one side of the boat, like that's when you have an issue. If everyone's still out there saying it can't do this, it's not sustainable, like that's what you want. That's the kind of stuff that you want. What else did I think that was like super, super interesting that happened this morning? This FLD, like everyone's all excited because they came out with a credit card. Like, okay, like Coinbase has a Bitcoin credit card. I think Gemini does too, right? Like, who cares? I don't really get the excitement there. Everyone's getting excited about Serve again for some reason. I don't get that. And you're starting to see the hardware names get a bid to them. And I'm not really understanding that either. But, maybe that's ahead of Micron tonight because you're seeing that with like SanDisk, STX. These names are coming in a little bit, but they were up a little bit today. And now you're seeing it with WDC. Like all these names are setting up to rip ahead of Micron. And so the question really for Micron is like, how great is this quarter going to be? Because it's got to be the cat's pajamas. It really needs to rip. And it really does need to be that. It does need to be the cat's pajamas. And I don't know if it's going to be or not. Certainly going forward it is. What else is interesting out there? Oracle, I think you had an all-time high close yesterday or darn near it. No, you just missed it. The TikTok is not the thing for me. The thing for me really is their alignment with OpenAI. It is very clear to me who the leaders are backing. And that's why Meta dropped the way that it dropped yesterday. This is not going to be like everybody's going to win. Everybody's getting a trophy. That's not going to be this. This is going to be feast or famine. And a lot of these companies are aligning with OpenAI, meaning Oracle aligned with OpenAI, Nvidia is aligning with them. For whatever reason, And if I had to, to be honest, like I pay for some of this stuff to play with it. Chat GPT 5 sucks compared to Claude right now. Like it's not even freaking close. So I don't get it, but they're the billionaires, not me. Maybe they'll figure it out and make it better. But like Claude is like light years ahead of that thing right now. But Claude doesn't have the functionality to remember things the same way and build a database. I use those things for everything now. It's fascinating how fast they can like sort my documents and edit my spelling and change the punctuation, do all that stuff. Them internets or something. But I think that's why this came in. I think the Apple move is just predicated, very simply on the fact that, hey, we're raising prices and we have huge demand for product. It's not a real rocket science kind of move, man. I mean, it's pretty clean while you're moving. So you're probably going to take out the all-time highs. You're trading at a discount to the S&P, and you're going to have a great quarter, and you're going to show huge demand for product because it's selling in China again. They like the 17 for whatever reason. Maybe it's that product cycle. I don't know, but they like it. So we'll have to see how that goes. What else that I think that's worth sharing? APP. So, I tend to be ahead of this stuff just from trading, I guess, so long. I don't know, whatever. I'm usually ahead by like a day or two. I thought it would fade yesterday or Friday. I thought you'd have a real fade. You have a frozen rope here. So I'll just show you it. But like you have a frozen rope pattern. There's your doji. If you break that doji, that's your first lower low, right? And that's your first red bar. And you're up there, man. Like what happened here? What did we lose? Oh, we lost the camera again. Okay. All right. Okay. No more bonding for us. Bonding's over. So if we look at that, I think if you break there, I think you got real issues. So, and how high can like the uranium names go? We need more power, Scotty. So, I mean, this is it, man. This is all you have for power. So we do not have power without uranium. And this is why CEG started calling their new facility, back in the day, back in here, I think when they did it, this is when they started calling it the, Crane Clean Energy Facility instead of 3 Mile Island, time for the rebrand. So it is what it is, guys. And it's not going away. I mean, it's very clear that uranium's not going away. And I personally think that this stuff's just getting started, but yeah, you have some nosebleed moves here, and they're probably not sustainable now. So they will come in, but I think that presents opportunity. Let's get to it. I'm going to do this super fast and try to go broad. All right, let's talk about Argentina. So, because I know that everyone's excited to talk about Argentina. So this is how this usually plays out. I've done a lot of work on this because I think there's a really big trade here. So Argentina has defaulted on their debt 9 times. And I didn't know that until I started really digging into it. So they've defaulted on their debt 9 times. And they have a lot of money out with the IMF right now. I don't know what happened. I truly, just being blunt, like this is when they had a surplus. I do not know what happened between here or it was in here when they finally said they have a surplus. I do not know what happened in between when they said they had a surplus and where they are now. But something happened, and now that Buenos Aires just voted in somebody that is very socialist again, because they're cutting all these things, and the interior minister, and that they got rid of the interior ministry, they just fired it back up. So he's trying to appease these people that 2 years ago he was saying that, the leftists and, he had his chainsaw and running around and all that stuff. And it looked like it was great, but I guess they either don't like it or the reform is so hard that they don't have the money coming in. So he's meeting with Trump to figure out how they're going to shore this up. I'm not so sure that works. And I think on the short term, you could see these banks rally because the dollar gets stronger, money will get stronger, right? So you're seeing that lift off of that into this. I'm not so sure that that's going to fix this. And I think that when that's done, you have to watch those elections. And from the blowout that just happened, I'm not so sure that he's got a shot on those elections. So there's way smarter people geopolitically than me, John. And when I saw it, like, I think you could move up on the fact that Trump's going to do something. This administration is going to do something to prop up the currency, right? And then you go, all right, well, they're going to do something. Okay, well, what does that do for us? Like, how does that help us? I don't know. I don't know how that helps, because then they're just going to realize what it is, and then they're going to vote. And then after they vote, it is what it is. So I think that's more of an issue when I look at this. I'm leaning towards, and I've been saying this for some time, that I think these elections are going to be a bloodbath. And I think that when this rallies up, you probably want to look at putting a short on then. I've been waiting for some kind of rally to put some size on, and I think we're going to get it, because he's going to go out there and, he's going to shake Trump's hand, and everyone's going to be like, yay, we're back together. Look at us. And then October is going to happen, and wham, kibosh. And so I think there's two kinds of ways to look at this. I think there's this trade out there. If you go through the cycle of, we meet Trump, we shake hands with Trump, we do the photo thing with Trump, a week later, the U.S. throws money at it. Everyone goes, yay. And then the stock goes up, and then it goes up. And then reality sets in and goes, nothing really changes. And then we have those elections. And then if those elections are bad, you're going to take this out and you're going to roll over. And the currency, I think it's a peso, I forget what it is, will devalue. Their debt's going to drop. Right. So their debt will lose value because of the risk of a default. And the people that own that debt are going to be the banks. And so the banks, to me, are probably just, outright shorts at this point on rallies. And that's how I really see it. I don't really want to short things that are down like this. So my hope is that these things like kind of rally back up to these levels. You can see your negative divergence right here. It was like perfect. And then you did your undercut, and there's your stop there. But that's really how I see these things. And that's really how I see this playing out. So I think there's two kinds of trades. I think on the short term, there's that kind of like long with, the photo op and the talk on Bloomberg and everything else. And then I think there's the reality of the elections in 4 weeks. So Nvidia, I like a lot. I mean, I'm just going to say that. Uber, I think you've kind of had your day in the sun. I'm not really chasing it here. I know a lot of people are. I always watch bars like this, the rally up and then the fail. I don't chase those, Kev. Good morning from Miami. CAT, let's do CAT and APLD. So the APLD, to me, I get you guys are like whacking this thing around. It's breaking out. It's got big volume. Go for it. I don't see a real issue with it, but it's not my kind of trade now. I always have to watch this stuff when we go from 13 to 25, and I have no idea what the heck it does. So, and someone will explain it to me, and I'll nod my head, but that, and there's too many shares outstanding. So it's not really on my radar. It's interesting. No one's bringing up open anymore. I noticed that, but I'm not chasing this thing, and it could very well be the cat's pajamas, but I'd have to do some work on it. Caterpillar makes a ton of sense. I keep waiting for some kind of pullback to get involved, but Caterpillar does, like, that makes so much sense. You're breaking out. The dollar's getting stronger. Industrials look like they're going to push. What's up, Aaron? Let's do TEM, because I'm not going to be able to do them all. You failed. You failed miserably, right? They shattered everybody's hopes and dreams. You broke out, and then what happened after the breakout? Right after the breakout, what happened? Bam, right? So, yeah, you can't go near that. I can't go near that. I should say it that way. I can't go near that. So, I gotta really watch that and see what happens there, but it's not really something for me to to go near. What else do I really see out there with those names? I think I'm going to go take a look at this one. Trying to answer someone. I know nothing about this name, Hunter. I know people in the room are trading it. I know people in the room love it. They did something here. Everybody was like, yay, it's the cat's pajamas. And then it came back down. Boo. And now everyone loves it again after earnings. Yay. So it's not my trade. I think I've been in this a couple times. But I completely forget why and what the heck it even does, to be quite honest with you. What's going on, Julian? AMD, I would avoid. Out of all those names, I think that this UROY, is that it? That's not it. I think, well, UROY. I think you're missing a letter. No? I'd want to know what this is in great detail. And let me just throw this in here and see if we're getting dividends. We're not. So I would need to understand it more. But something like this, like if it's a royalty where they're going to pay out the royalties and some kind of dividend, yeah, count me in. I'd want to know. I'd want to know all about this thing and what this thing's doing. Like that would be very, very appealing to me. A matter of fact, let me tell you what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to put that in the uranium room because they'll answer my questions about it. That would be interesting to me. Out of all those names, I can't go through all of them. AMD's a pig. I wouldn't touch it. The Annette is super interesting to me. All they have to do is say the word agentic, which is the new word. So let's just keep rocking and rolling here. I'm going to go through, try to hit a bunch of people today. I own it. I have a double. I trimmed it. It is what it is. They're going to try and take it public. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. To me, they've just absolutely exploded and they look fantastic, but we'll see what happens with it. I mean, at this point, I can't lose money on the trade. So there's nothing really for me to do with it. I mean, it can literally at this point go to zero and we're break even. And I don't think it will, but it is. I don't even know what they are, Neil. I don't even know what you're talking about. What are you talking about, Willis? I don't even know what these things are, what industrial screens are. So like these extractors, like something like this. I mean, if you never see it move, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the time frame should be. It looks like they trade like an equity and they're an industrial equity. Are they like a industrial ETF for Europe? I mean, if that's what it is, then you would be thinking about trading these during economic cycles. That's how you would look at them, if that's what they are. Like, I don't know what this thing is. I mean, how long do you hold this? I mean, never. I would never hold this. I'd run away screaming. I can't think of any reason why I would ever hold that, like ever. But I don't know anything about it. Maybe you know that they're going to, someday be profitable. But I wouldn't own that. But I can't tell you what to do. The Apple's interesting. What's up, Troy? Yeah, I really like Nvidia here. I really like how negative everybody is on it. It makes me really happy, to be honest with you. Huge volume, jumped up, back above the 55, and they hate it. Oracle yesterday, nobody's really getting it yet. They still hate it. You're forming a W. You almost closed at all-time highs, and everyone's telling you it shouldn't be doing this. Meanwhile, people are looking at buying Meta. I mean, this is what makes a stock market, man. It's what makes a stock market. I love it. But tell me my idea is bad again. I love it. Like I just do. It's just so obvious that they, when these people go out there, that they just don't have a freaking clue. I watched some lady try to explain it from Morgan, try to explain the deal today. And it was so obvious she didn't know what she was talking about. Is the market expensive? Yeah. If you miss on earnings going into this third quarter earnings cycle, we're going lower and we're going lower fast. But I don't know that that's what's going to happen. Right. So like, I don't know that that's what's going to happen. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm going to do these super fast. See what else we got here. Yeah, please hit the like button. Helps greatly with the algo. I like VRT a lot, bro. I think Taiwan Semi is just one of those companies you have to realize that you just buy and you just forget that you own. I mean, God, why are you up $10 today? Did they come out with their revenue report last night? Is that what it is? Usually when they come out with that monthly revenue report and people see it, they go, "Oh my God, is that the news?" I can tell you in a minute. The concierge should have had this up, but once again, he disappoints me. Makes me sad. Iowa bets on brute force they can outpace Nvidia. Okay. I don't see it. I don't see the headline right away, but I guarantee it's something like that. Let me see if I can grab it real quick. Go to a different service. Because there's definitely something. I mean, you're up $10. Yeah, so their revenue came out, looks like 33% jump year over year. Yeah, that's not today though. I don't know if that's today. Is that today? What do we know? Let me see if that's today. That's December. That's not now, right? That's the 10th. I don't see it. I don't know. I would like to know why that's out and why that's up. RR never made any sense to me why it didn't move more that day. We bought this thing at like 260. Like they came out here and said, hey, we're going to be the first guys to buy the NVIDIA robotic chip. That, by the way, is not in any of NVIDIA's earnings projections, but whatever. What do I know? So if I look at something like this, right, like on that bar, like it was one of those things you just kind of buy and just forget that you own, and then you just have to wait out. Wake me in a year or two. Let me know how it's going. Like this stuff takes time to like really make these things work. Like this takes time. What's up, Journal? Okay, although we covered, let me just go through this. I don't know. I have puts on it and I didn't get my news. So I think I'm up $4 in them this morning. So the stock's down $4 with the implied volatility. They probably won't even freaking move. So like I'll be like $4, and the delta will collapse, but the implied volatility, I probably won't even make anything. I'll probably just get out alive. I don't know, man. This is not how it ends. It doesn't end this way. So, keep that in mind. Guys, I'm going to have to jump. I'm super late. I'm going to start trying to get to that 8:15 level again. And the applied digital, I'll look into it, Hunter. I know people in the room are playing it. CoreWeave looks good, John. Acquisition for Mr. Cooper Group. Oh, did they buy somebody? Did they buy Mr. Cooper? You sure? I think the 20% order increase. I don't know about that whole thing about them buying Mr. Cooper. I don't know anything about that. I don't know what you're talking about, Willis. That's not the name. Where's the name? The CoreWeaves SMR. That's it. I like it. I don't know, bro. I don't know what the deal is. I know they've traded in the room all the time, and then they're like, "Did you see this one?" Like they want a button or something. I don't know. They're killing it. They're killing it on it. I mean, some of these guys probably have a double on it. So, all right, I got to jump. Make good choices.